and you're married to one of India's biggest superstars.
Only a very, very secure man will support a woman and push her to do more. Everyone thinks that, oh, she was born into this very rich family. In business, you review your goals. I've said this multiple times. Why don't you review it in relationships? So I think my message to the women in India is to take control of your life. Know what your goals are. Marriage is not a bed of roses. My biggest achievement was taking control of my body in my own hands.
And I thought to myself, that's a really confident woman.
No phones, no TV. Just both of us. And we've had these hard chats with one another. And I was very, very happy that they pushed me to do this. But I had Charan naturally. He's a hands-on dad.
If I want the cameras rolling, I've got to learn how to deal with this. So
Absolutely.
Today I have with me Upasana Konidela, a business leader, a philanthropist, and a force of impact. As Vice Chairperson of CSR at Apollo Hospitals, one of Asia's largest healthcare groups, she's dedicated her entire life to transformative healthcare. More than all of that, she's also an incredible person when it comes to balancing so many different roles in her life, from being a businesswoman to being a leader to being a wife to being a mother. And we're so excited to dive into her journey and what makes her tick. Welcome to the Masoom Minawala show, and so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really love how your show has come out, and I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Upasana. That's so kind. I know we've been planning this for a while, but we finally made it happen. It's my first time in Hyderabad, by the way.
Welcome. It's an amazing place.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. So I want to start with asking you, Upasana, that you come from one of India's largest business families and you're married to one of India's biggest superstars. Do you feel the pressure?
Of course I do. I'm human. Of course I feel the pressure. But over time, I've realized how to manage the pressure and not let it get to me. I've tried to use the pressure positively to push myself to do more, because my granddad one time, he told me that, the reason why you are in this position is because God has some great plans for you. So use it correctly in life to make the right decisions and do the right things.
No, so absolutely. So on a daily basis, what do you do to be able to handle that pressure?
Lately I've realized rest is respect. So it's respect for your body. So if you can take some time off and rest, you come back rejuvenated. I think that a lot of us underestimate rest, and we should rest enough for us to be able to handle the multiple things that we do in our everyday lives.
I agree. I think it's just so much easier said than done.
I know you're out in 4 months. I can't imagine. That's amazing.
No, of course. And I feel like sometimes life just catches up with you, right? The commitments catch up with you. And frankly, this is something that I personally struggle with, is there's just so many buckets to fill.
Absolutely.
And I want to ask you that, how do you do that? If you're looking at life and you're looking at percentages, how do you decide that this is how much I'll give my work, this is how much I'll give my family? Even within family, there is the role of a wife, there's a role of a mother, and they all require very different things. And then there's work, there's career, and there's yourself that is so important. So how do you divide and conquer?
So this was a very tough process for me. And I had a very great life coach who, helped me through this. And what I realized through this whole journey was that in business, you review your goals. I've said this multiple times. Why don't you review it in relationships? So every quarter, like you have board meetings, I think you need to have a meeting with yourself to understand what your personal goals are, what your family goals are, and what your business goals are. And once you prioritize them, then you'll be able to make time for all equally. You'll know which season requires what, and that'll help your life become much more organized and much more easy.
So what do family goals look like? I'm curious.
Family goals is just spending time. As our parents get older, as, our families get bigger, we started Secret Santa in our family with 38 people, and now it's 44.
Wow.
So over the years, the family is just growing, getting to know them, spending time with them, understanding that, you get happiness being with each other, not just meeting at parties or family gatherings, but being there for one another. I think those are family goals that are extremely important.
And this is something you check in on and kind of look into quite often.
Absolutely. And us being a family business and a business family, we have our family constitution written as well. So we go back to that so that there are no fights because of wealth. Wealth should never be the cause of any fight in our family. And these are the laws that my grandfather put in place. So we fight over smaller things, but never, the big things are all written and taken care of by him.
Because that's something you don't have to spend time kind of figuring out.
We've written our constitution, and then we've had these hard chats with one another. And communication is like breathing. You have to keep getting better and better and better and learning how to adapt to a different climate. So, with respect to communication, you need to keep on improving your communication with one another, with family members, with people around you, because only if you can communicate, they can understand your feelings. Sometimes being silent doesn't help at all.
Absolutely. And you're talking to someone who doesn't like confrontation. So, but yeah, I think communication, if done the right way, can be amazing. Upasana, if you were to, look back at the trajectory of your life, what do you think would be your biggest achievement?
My biggest achievement was taking control of my body in my own hands. Having control of my body and not the other way, I think is something very, very important. I would let emotions rule over my body, and I would eat when I was stressed, and I would just lock myself up in a room when I was depressed. And now I have control over my body and my emotions. I think that is something that I have achieved and I have control over now. And I know how to deal with situations like this. If I'm stressed, I can tell myself that, hey, if you're stressed, deal with it, find a solution. I don't eat too much during that time like I used to do before. And it had a huge impact on my health at that time. So today I'm very proud to say that I have control over my body and my emotions.
How do you handle that stress? Is it your thoughts that you're able to now control?
Absolutely. It's my thoughts and, my mindset as well. As I know that now for me, it's not just dealing with things the way I used to before, but I have an organized structure and approach to it. The organized structure and approach is for me to write things down, find solutions, check again whether I'm happy with it, bounce it off my life coach if if I'm not confident of the solution, and then after that I execute. So it's not just spiraling downward. And I think that those exercises have helped me a lot in my life.
So, Upasana, I really appreciate you talking about this, and especially talking about having a life coach, because it's so important for everyone listening, watching, to know that even as leaders, sometimes you need that professional support, right, to navigate life. I think so many of us have believed for so long that we're supposed to figure it out ourselves, right? We're supposed to be able to navigate whatever life throws at us on our own. But it's very inspiring to hear that you're openly talking about kind of being able to lean in towards that. I myself have a life and a career coach, and it's helped me so well to navigate through so many life situations. But, I saw this photo of you you're wearing a black skirt. It was a black outfit. You're with your husband, Charan. I think it was at the Ambani wedding. And I saw that photo, and this was a while back, right? Over a year ago. And I thought to myself, that's a really confident woman. I didn't even have this talk show and podcast then. I had no intention of kind of sitting down and speaking with you. But that was genuinely my very first perception. You know what I'm talking about, right? Have you always been that confident?
Not at all. Not at all. I think even now I don't feel confident. I think it's something that I have to work at every day. And confidence for me right now is like faking it till you make it. And I'm being as honest as possible, because confidence has to keep growing, and it grows when you have more knowledge. And you can never have enough knowledge. So, the more knowledge that you seek, the more confident you get. So I feel when you learn more, you become more confident. So for me, learning is always the thing that I seek the most.
And how do you learn? What are your ways to learn?
Like I said, I do have a coach, and then I also spend 3 months, if I can, in a year, just updating myself. Otherwise, I feel I become irrelevant. The world has changed constantly from the time I finished college. We've had COVID, we've had war, and we don't know what 2025 has in store for us. So for us to update ourselves personally, physically, emotionally, and financially as to what the world is going through right now, and correct our business goals, is something that we have to keep learning year on year and keep adapting to. That's what keeps us relevant. That's what gives us confidence.
That's very interesting. I know that you've always spoken about the importance of financial independence for women. What has been that journey for you? What has been your relationship with money?
Everyone thinks that, she was born into this very rich family, but I don't have access to that kind of wealth that would require me to do the things that I want. So I took everything into my hands, and I said, in my late 30s, I decided that I need to know more, otherwise you just trust your family members and feel that everything is going to be safe. So I said, no, these are my goals. This is the wealth that I need to create to achieve my goals. This is what I need to do. I actually understood how I need to restructure my company for better outcomes. And then also I realized that I need to get more knowledge in this for confidence, to get more confidence with my financial...
To actually educate yourself.
To educate myself about my finances. It could be inheritance, but I need to know how I need to manage it. I don't know what to do with the wealth that I have to get and the wealth that I'm going to be inheriting. I need to use it correctly. And even that is a class that people need to understand. So many women are going to be inheriting so much. Once that money comes to you, what are you going to do with it?
What is the rightful way to manage it?
Exactly. So for that, you need to have that knowledge. And that knowledge will give you the confidence, as we spoke about. And then I realized that I was working as part of the CSR of Apollo. We were trying to make women healthier in the rural areas. And then we saw that it had a direct correlation to women being financially independent. So the financially independent households where the women were financially independent had better health than the others.
Wow.
And we saw that going forward. And then after that, it got me thinking, in India with, the stuff going on and the divorce rates and things like that, and people being unhappy in their marriages for certain reasons, would financial independence change why people get married?
Yes.
Would financial independence change when couples have children?
No, absolutely, because I still believe that so many women stay in unhappy marriages and unkind marriages and put up with so much because they're not financially independent. So they find the dependency of their livelihood on their partner, and they're able, they find
they put up with so much.
They put up with everything. Yes.
And which is not, and if they were financially independent, what would they have done? In today's day and age, I think it's very fair for every woman to be treated as an equal in a marriage.
So on this topic, I've been seeing that you're promoting. Is it your mother-in-law? Is it your grandmother who started a new business?
Oh, my mother-in-law, actually. So my mother-in-law and we were coming back one day. She packs this amazing food. My husband has to eat Indian food wherever we are in the world. One meal has to be Indian. And we try our best, to search for good restaurants and all that. But there are some staples that he loves. So she has created these staples into ready mixes.
Wow.
That you just have to, and we take a cooker wherever we go. We put it in the shower and then put that in, so there's no fire alarm going off anywhere, and you have home cooked food. And she's been doing this for years for my father-in-law on set. She does that for my husband. And so many people want that meal, that home cooked meal when you travel and you work. You can't eat hotel food all the time. or restaurant food. So she made these, which are homemade, have a very short shelf life. So they're fresh. They're made at home, actually. And it's called Atama's Kitchen. And in her 60s, Atama decided to become an entrepreneur. And I think that that's so liberating. She doesn't need financial independence. What she needs is, the fulfillment of what she's doing for her family, to go to other different families and for them to
purpose,
absolutely,
which I think brings so much peace and happiness.
I think the kitchen is her space of happiness as well. Feeding people makes her truly happy. Even my grandmother loves feeding people.
Yes, I think, and I think that's common for a lot of Indian women, especially of the older generation. I feel like they found their happiness and purpose in kind of feeding the younger ones and fulfilling our lives with so much nutrition and enrichment.
Yeah. My mother-in-law doesn't want to make millions out of this business. What she wants to do is she wants to empower other women. So we have lots of women joining us in this. We want the right farmers to get, the women farmers to get the recognition and the financial independence. So it's just not about making money here, but it's starting a movement to encourage more women to come back into the workforce.
No, that's amazing. It's actually such an inspiring story for people to hear about today. And you've been, really encouraging it and promoting it on your platforms as well, which I think is an important piece of the pie. And it's important to talk about that.
Any woman can become an entrepreneur at any time in her life. And I think opportunity is available. You just need to grab it and use it to your benefit. And it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. It's not. It's absolutely not. I think, but there has been some conditioning, right, Upasana, that when you grab opportunity, when you think of everything as a business, there has been that conditioning for Indian women, especially, that you're being money-minded in a negative way, right? There has been a negative connotation.
Who's making those statements?
Yeah, I think it's been there in the past.
It's there. But the thing is, look at the people who are making the statements. It's the people who don't know how to manage their money. I think that we need to understand that these statements are statements of the past. If an opportunity comes your way, it's God sent. Take it. And
there's a reason it's come.
And there's a reason it's come. If you don't make the best of your opportunities, then you're just going to be, sorry to say, leading a loser life.
Yeah. So Apollo Hospitals was started by your grandfather.
Yes.
And then the legacy was carried on forward by his 4 daughters. That in itself, I think, is such an incredible movement, right? Seeing women leading the business. It must have been such an interesting journey to witness.
It is. And more interesting is that we, as kids, never felt that our mothers or fathers neglected us at all. We had a very, very balanced life, and I had a very fulfilling life. My mom is my best friend. And with my daughter around, I don't know what I would have done without my mom.
Yeah. I can imagine. But of course, she has such an integral role with running the healthcare group. And is she also very involved with your daughter?
Like fully.
Wow.
Like fully involved in her growing up, in her everything. I grew up with my grandparents, and I want to make sure that my daughter experiences the same. Because it's such a beautiful experience to grow up with your grandparents around you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a privilege.
Really.
It's one of life's greatest privileges. If you ask me, I grew up with my grandparents as well, and I miss them. I wish they were here today to see my babies. And
That's so important. I think, people have lost the beauty of living in joint families. I love living with my in-laws. And, I like the whole family culture together. And the stuff she learns from them and how they are an integral part. My in-laws are an integral part of my child's growing up as well, because my mother-in-law, father-in-law, they come and balance. When I'm out, I know that my daughter is in good hands. And my mom plays a huge role as well. So does my dad. So, everyone together, I think, is involved in raising Klinkara.
Of course. That's beautiful. And I think that's the way it should be. That's the Indian custom and Indian ritual and culture.
And it should never be lost.
Yeah, absolutely. So, coming back to how the business was set up. So women have always faced scrutiny in business, right? And it's quite a common fact. But have you faced that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At every given point. Everyone thinks, they know your weaknesses and they play to your weaknesses. That's why having knowledge, I don't go to a meeting without prepping. I don't go to a meeting without knowing what's happening. And I know that I need to brush my skills up with those 1-2 extra things also. And that gives me the confidence. So no one can break me. And I've learned that with time.
So give us some instances, right?
It
How
could
do you
be
think
people even working for you.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be your boss. Even people who are your colleagues, or it could be people
that report to you, maybe?
That report to me also sometimes. I felt it a couple of times, thinking they thought I was clueless. And I did feel it, but I never let it bother me. My weapon is knowledge. So getting more subject matter information is my biggest weapon. And
how do you stay, like you talk about learning a lot, which is very interesting, but how do you stay up to date, right? Is it through reading? Is it through watching?
Through my education that I give myself every year. I cut out 3 months, not in one go, but at different intervals in the year to re-educate myself.
And is that through like short courses?
It's through courses, whether it's at the campus or it's through our family business has different people from different walks of life coming to talk to us.
Yes.
So, that is also a great learning for us. And I read, I listen to podcasts, all these things in every small way, they add to your knowledge and they give you strength. I think that's really important. Also, I browse a lot of social media. So that's also,
of course. And
it keeps me relevant and it makes me learn so much.
Yes, absolutely. No, I agree with you on that. So you've seen in your family, the women are leading the cause, right? Are the dads also part of the business?
No,
they're not. Okay.
Yeah.
And now that it's kind of, are all the children a part of the business?
In some way or the other.
Has it been a choice? Has it been?
In some way or the other, small way or the other. My granddad feels the more the merrier.
Okay.
So may not be in the main core business, but in the ancillary parts, everyone's heart is with healthcare because he's so passionate about it.
So it starts from the top.
It starts from the top. And then, he, in some small way or the other, though they have other businesses as well, healthcare plays a small role in all our lives. And for some, much bigger role.
Yes, of course. And have you seen that kind of gender disparity in your family at all?
I did see it. And luckily it was nipped at the bud. And then the girls were very strong, so they asked for their own share. And I'm happy to say that our family treats women and men equally. And I'm very, very proud about it. And this was the art of communication that my grandfather and grandmother taught all of us. Today, if we have something sour, we will say it. We will be able to speak. Some hold it within. But, the people who can speak about it are, I think, the ones that have benefited the most.
There's so much for me to learn from this conversation.
No, I'm learning from you.
No, Upasana. While talking about family, I of course want to talk about your relationship with your husband. And you stand as such an incredible business leader yourself. He's one of India's biggest superstars. What is the hack to making a marriage work when you both have such demanding careers?
So we come in as equals. We understood that way early in our marriage. And he's a very, very secure man. Only a very, very secure man will support a woman and push her to do more. And that's what he does for me. And I think that that's very, very, I shouldn't say kind. I don't have the right word. I think that's very nice of him to do because I would do the same for him.
Yes.
So being with me during my ups and downs and me being there for him, I think is our secret sauce. It's as simple as that.
And
And
what
of
is
course, we have marriage is not a bed of roses. And of course, we have our whole family around us.
that? Yes.
So our whole family is our support system, whether it's his side or my side. We all grow together.
But what is that being there kind of, what are these little things? Is it kind of checking in on each other? Is it kind of being there at the big events for each other? I mean, I know you went to the Oscars with him. Is it in those once in a lifetime moments? How are you tracking that being there, right? Because I feel like as individuals, I mean, I was talking to my husband last night and, we were just kind of getting into this argument because now I'm traveling so often and he travels quite often as well. And every time I'm traveling to have to keep a track of every little thing, all of it can get a bit, sometimes you just, life gets busy and you kind of just go with that flow and things get busy and it's so easy to just lose track of the details. So what is that? What do you prioritize?
So for us, spending time together to do something or the other managing our schedule so we get that adequate time for each other is so important. My mom used to tell us that, once a week you have to have date night. You don't understand the importance of it, but it's so important. So we try to do that as much as possible. But date night is only us without the TV, huh?
Yes. And does it mean going out or it can be at home as well?
It's at home.
Okay.
But with no other distraction.
Okay. How lucky.
And no phones, no TV. Just both of us.
Just checking in on each other.
Just checking in on each other and things. So, that's something that's important that we have institutionalized in our heads, but are getting, slowly trying to institutionalize it more frequently in our lives. But we do it. If we have a problem with each other, we definitely talk about it. Communication is something that we are still building and we will continue to build till we die. And that these are things in a marriage that are accepted. But as I said, you have to work on it every day. You can't just give up. Yeah. It's like breathing.
Yeah, it really is. And what about, now you have a family, right? So you have your baby girl with you. And what if she needs something, right? And both your careers are demanding. How do you decide who's going to step in at what point?
He's a hands-on dad and he takes equal responsibility and sometimes more when I'm traveling. Like when I was at Harvard, Kara was with him throughout and he made sure he took her everywhere and made sure that she ate well. And by the way, he's an ace dad at making her eat.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah. So, feeding kids, especially for Kara, is like very tough.
Yes, it's one of the hard, feeding them and putting them to sleep. The two hardest jobs on planet Earth.
Absolutely. I thought the office was
your office was hard. Yeah,
this is
harder.
This is harder. Office is a cakewalk compared to this.
I read this really funny thing today, Upasana, which said that when your baby wakes up in the middle of the night, don't worry about it at all. Just pick them up and pat them for the next 5 years and then they'll be fine. Which is so true.
It truly is.
True, right? Because it really is. God. It just never stops with them. But it's so nice to hear that, that's kind of happening. Is it hard being married to a superstar?
No marriage is easy. And, every marriage has their ups and downs. But I think that as long as you know what your goals are and you know enough about each other and you have respect for each other, then it's cool. So we have respect for each other. So our marriage is, I would say, we have higher marks.
Do you guys talk about work a lot?
We do. I try to incorporate best practices from his industry in mine and vice versa. I think
how interesting.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I like how they plan their marketing. I like how they, think about how production is done, their operational skills. We could use some of those in healthcare as well.
Yeah, production is it's an engine. It's amazing how I'm learning about it now with this entire talk show. And I've been creating content for 10, 12 years, but I still never understood how production worked. And it's a whole different kind of machine altogether.
Oh, the other most important thing that I have to learn from my husband is patience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think being an actor teaches you how to be extremely patient.
Why is that?
Because you're on set and you're waiting
You're
for the
waiting
shot.
on others. You're waiting on others to kind of finish their work, and then you can do yours.
And for the whole setup and everything to happen.
Yeah.
And
So, Upasana, you've seen how impatient I've been today.
No, not at all. It was so good.
I'm so impatient, when like the lights are getting set up, and I get very antsy.
Not at all. And you're learning more about production, so it's fine.
That's true. So, Upasana, I know you had your baby girl recently. How's the journey of motherhood been for you?
It's been amazing. And having her around has changed my life completely. I can't even think of my life without her or before her now, because, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Kara has brought so much happiness, and she came at the perfect time. I was pregnant at the Oscars with her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And so she's come with me.
She's the lucky baby.
She's the lucky baby. And
she's come with you everywhere. She's
come with me
you
everywhere, to the Globes, to the Oscars, to everywhere. She's been there with me. And I really feel that having her around gives me that security as a mother, as a woman, and as an entrepreneur as well. Because she gives me that thing, saying that, okay, fine, if things don't go well in the office, Mama, I'm there for you at home.
Aww.
And, it's so beautiful to have her.
Have you ever come back home and having had a bad day, and she said something that made it better?
The sweetheart can't talk, but she just says, Mama, Mama, Mama.
Oh,
and that's enough.
That's absolutely enough. Yeah, no, I know the feeling. But I know you've spoken about your journey with egg freezing. And I think I'd love for you to shed some light on kind of how you made that decision. Was it to do with your career? Because I know many women today are trying to take control of their personal health in their hands, right? Because sometimes the timelines of having a child and their career doesn't always match. So what was it for you? Was it difficult?
It wasn't difficult. So the egg freezing process is not difficult. People think that it's only for fertility reasons that you should freeze your eggs, but I think you should do it to be secure. It's like an insurance policy. It's like the best insurance a woman can have for herself, where she can decide at what time in her life she can have her child at her own terms, on her own terms, because she's the one who's going to be bearing the child. She's the one that's going to be taking care of the child 99% of the time. I know you can have the other help, but she should be able to take that call on when she wants to have the child as well. So the egg freezing procedure, my family told me to go ahead and do it, and I was very, very happy that they pushed me to do this.
Yeah.
But I had Kara naturally, so there goes that.
But it's always amazing to kind of have that safety net as well, right? And it also comes with that bout of being able to, it's like planning your life.
It's absolutely, it's like planning your life.
Your finances.
Finances.
It's similar to that you don't want to meet with a situation that would be unlikely.
Absolutely.
Or, would be unhappy for so many, right?
Absolutely. And, I feel that science can do so much with the embryos later.
Yes.
That, when they are healthy, you should save them as much as possible. So, that's what I did. And then I'm a true believer in science. And then I said, what is stopping me from freezing my eggs? Nothing. I don't let society bother me. I think I've become thick-skinned. Very thick-skinned.
How has that happened?
Through years of being... when I got married, luckily I didn't know how to use social media as much. And apparently I got trolled a lot. Luckily I didn't know how to use social media. So it didn't let it affect me very much. But the beauty of this whole exercise was that, over the years, from trolling, now all my messages are positive. And I love it. So how much negativity can there be in this world? So end of the day, there is a silver lining. So that's why, when people talk about trolls, I just let it be. It's fine. Take it negative, because one day you will be positive, and you will be positive, and you will come back when you see something that's beautiful about me. So it motivates me to work harder. And I hope that they find that with me one day.
No, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. You're such an amazing person. And you've been so
Thank
honest
you.
with us today in the conversation, which I genuinely admire because it takes courage. It takes courage to kind of be able to bear all, to speak without that layer of kind of a filter, which is so important. And you've been in the public eye now, and you've been in the eye of scrutiny. So,
yeah, for quite some time. I'm pretty thick-skinned. But I think you've also had your fair share, of being in the public eye. How is that for you?
It's been tricky. It's been a journey. It's been something that I've been very unkind with myself for. Now when I look back, I think I was so hard on myself for what others were saying to me or about me, right? But I think I was so young when I started this career, Upasana, and when I chose this career that I wasn't sure of myself. It's what you said, right? It's what you said about Ram, your husband, that he's secure as a person. If you're not secure in yourself,
yeah,
that step 2 doesn't come. And we're at step 3 and 4 without having uncovered step 1, which is being secure in ourselves, being sure of who we are, and accepting and embracing that. I think I received, and it wasn't even hate or trolling. It's just that any feedback or any criticism would come. I was so young that I wouldn't be able to take it in my stride. I would just be like, oh, why can't the world agree and nod with everything I say and do? Which in itself is incorrect, right? And I think today I don't think I've grown a thick skin, but I think I've been able to appreciate and accept that it's okay for people to not agree with everything that I have to say. It's okay for me to have a different perspective. And it's also, the internet has also taught me so many things that I need to be more mindful of what I'm saying. I need to be more, I need to be mindful of that other people are coming from different life experiences from me. And when I'm speaking and when I'm kind of displaying and showcasing my life to the world, I shouldn't be insensitive to that.
Absolutely. And I think I've learned that lesson too. What's good for us may not be good for someone else. But, I'm so proud of you for actually speaking about that because, it takes a lot of courage to speak about that. That's really amazing.
Thank you. And actually, I think it helps.
Yeah.
I think the more you talk about it, you learn how to deal with it, right? The more you talk about it and put it out there, the lessons come to you, like you said, right? When you have that clarity that, this is something that I want to, because if I don't know how to be able to deal with online criticism or hate or trolling in whatever little measure that it comes in, I can't have this career. I can't have this job.
Yeah.
If I want the cameras rolling, I've got to learn how to deal with this. So
absolutely. And one thing I want to bring out is that nobody's life is easy. You could be the happiest, you could be the wealthiest, you could be the healthiest, but nobody's life is easy. Everyone has to work to get there.
Yes.
And it doesn't come easy.
Yeah. And work professionally and personally, right? In every way and on every aspect. So what is, if you could look back and kind of turn back in time and tell 20-year-old Upasana something, what would you tell her? One lesson that you think you wish she knew back then.
Well, that 20-year-old Upasana was a rock star. I wish I could continue the same carefree life that I had. But, you grow with time. That's why I was like, oh my God, what do I say? I love that, Upasana. I like this more matured one as well. So, I wouldn't change anything, because life is all about experiencing. And even if it's good or bad, I just loved it.
Of course. And to end our conversation, if there's one thing that you could share with the women of our country today in being able to, something that I've really taken away from your story today is you've divided and you've honed and you've conquered. I think that's been the takeaway for me, right? Because I think what people get really lost in is their career and then their family. So their career and their marriage, their career and their kids. But what has come out so beautifully for me today and I'm taking away is that you're so invested in your personal growth, right? And I think that is something that we forget. Like I've forgotten that I also need to live for myself. And I think that's been my takeaway from me today. But if there's one thing that, on this topic, largely, if you can kind of talk to the women of our country, what would you say to them?
Take charge of your life. Everything happens in your hands. Don't worry about your spouse. Don't worry about your children. Don't worry about your parents. All those will fall into place, all your dreams. But first, channel inside yourself to understand what your dreams are for yourself. I think, keeping you at the fulcrum of everything is something that you really need to do right now. And I think you is very important for you. And making that, and I haven't reached there yet, but I do know what I need to do for myself through my personal experience. I think taking care of yourself benefits your family more than anything else. So I think my message to the women in India is to take control of your life. Know what your goals are, know where you stand, know what you need to do for yourself. Because once you have clarity about what you need for you, then everything else will fall in place. Whether it's your health, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your peace of mind, or whether it's your family goals. I think first sit down and write all this down. Write it first, then clean it up again. Then use an AI tool if you have to for a better understanding. And then after that, slowly start finding solutions. And keep going back every week and looking at your goals, because that structure matters. And once you have clarity, then everything falls in place. That's in our DNA. That's how we are made as women.
Truly, we are. Thank you so much, Upasana. Thank you for your time.